Military surplus for modern gear, part 2. We just did a new haul from the surplus store just today on Sunday. It's kind of a tradition for my family to go to the surplus store on Sunday. And we picked up a new haul, but we've also have been adjusting the Alice kit as per the comments and the previous videos and the research I've done. And I've basically got this thing adjusted out where there is maximized real estate. Like there is no space wasted on this thing. So we're gonna set aside my awesome A2 clone with my patented, no, it's not really patented, that's just a joke, but my invented garbage camo. We're gonna set this aside and check out today's surplus haul. And then afterwards, we're gonna go through the upgrades to the Alice kit, because this thing, I've cinched it up, I've maximized the real estate, and I've got this thing kitted out with a butt pack, and this thing is good to go. I mean, we can go a long way with this basic kit. But first, let's go into today's surplus haul. So, this is just one simple bag that we got from the surplus store today. And the first thing we're gonna show you is kind of an awesome thing for $25. Literally $25. I think the tag is still on there. Yeah, $25. A Type 56 chest rig. We don't have to talk about where that's from, but this is literally able to fit 3 AR mags, and each one of these little pouches can fit 2 37mm rounds. You could fit 2 37mm rounds on a couple of these and put a little medical kit, little other doodads in there. But for $25, this is a pretty good find from a military surplus store. Now they did have a real Type 56 rig for $55. I figured for proof of concept, $25, we just get the imitation. So we'll just toss that in there. Now, what else do we got? We actually did not pick this up from the surplus store. This is from an antique store that I visited over the weekend. But classic A2 pouch that we're gonna use to set up the next Alice kit. But that's gonna come up in a future video featuring some of the components in this bag. So we'll toss that in there. Here, this is just a little tank top that I got from my daughter. Now here is another Alice canteen pouch. We're gonna use to set up our new belt. And then a new, here's some pepper spray that I got from my daughter as well. A new Korean, again, it's not surplus like this one, but this one I was able to configure in the store to fit my tiny ass little 26-inch waist. So this is gonna be the core belt for our new kit. More to come on that. And then we got, now this is probably one of the things I'm most excited about, the H harness. We've been dealing with the Y harness here. I'm really interested to see how an H harness, this is the LC1 that is load carrying in the classic Alice style harness, and more to come on that. So that is today's military surplus haul. Now, we have totally upgraded this. It's currently set for 5.56. I know in the past we set this up for 308, but I figured probably more people, commonality of caliber, are gonna be running 5.56 for their 90% caliber rifle. So we have 6 AR magazines in here, 3 in here and 3 in here. And we have multiple pouches. This is set up basically based off a mid-80s Green Beret Ranger setup based off the research that I did. So we have the actual leather pistol pouch here with a P228 in there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Dual, what do you call it, canteens here for more water. And then on the left here, we have multiple little pouches. These are actually compass pouches, but we're gonna talk about how this is set up based off the 1980s Green Beret Ranger setup. And then in future videos, we're gonna go through the butt pack, but that will not be the focus of this video. So we're gonna put this down on the ground so you can check out the actual makeup of this Alice belt. I'm gonna do the best I can to show you this, because interestingly enough, the more I configure this to fit me, the less it's able to fit within the frame of a video. But we're just gonna go from the components from my left to right. It's probably your right to left, I don't know, but here we go. Again, we maximize the real estate, so some of this stuff is compacted and kind of hard to see, but all the way on what would be my right side of wearing this, we have a little tiny compass pouch, and in this we have a Lensatic compass. Now this is a cheap knockoff of my Kamenga. My Kamenga is actually in my other rig, but we wanted to get one of these to put in here for proof of concept. This is just a kind of a cheap Lensatic compass. You know, Kamenga is gonna run you 80 something bucks. So for proof of concept, we just got one put in there. Now in pouches, we have 3 5.56 pouches. Again, original configuration of this was for my 308, but considering most people's 90% would be 5.56, this is currently set up for 5.56. Now here, you can see we do have the Alice kind of, it's not really drop leg, but it goes down the leg because it's so deep. In this US holster, we have a Sig Sauer 80s model West German P226, basically the M11. It's empty for sake of YouTube, and this is an excellent pistol and somewhat period correct, being that that is an 80s model. So then to the right of that, we have one of our canteen pouches, simple canteen pouch, little tiny pouch here, which I typically put a P38 can opener and a small big lighter in. This one in particular does have the newer BPA free canteens from Nalgene. These are pretty awesome. In fact, I'm gonna take a drink right now. Stay hydrated with canteens. Then to the right of this, hard to see, but there actually is a little bit of the dump pouch. That earlier dump pouch, which we showed in our earlier video. Not going to deploy it now, but this would be an actual dump pouch that would allow us to put in, you know, magazines, water bottles, chip bags, whatever. Here's the butt pack. We will be going through that in an extensive video in the future, but not at this time. Then the side of that, we have the medical pouch. This is the medical pouch that has the NSN, you know, old school medical kit in it, that has a lot of like older stuff that you know, might be considered outmoded in today's landscape, but for being kind of somewhat of a fun project and being period correct, we threw that in there. Tangential aside video, on the LC1 harness, you might notice there are 2 kit items. On the left here, perhaps you're right, is the actual, I guess you would call it a flashlight. This is literally probably a lumen of 2 flashlight. Not ideal in the current landscape, but perhaps period correct and kind of cool to look at. You can take this off and have an actual white light, but this is your red light lens. And then on the other side, we have a tiny little pouch. On the inside of this, we have a rat's tourniquet, just to have a tourniquet option that is appropriate for not only yourself, but kids and small animals, perhaps your puppy dog. And that is the items that are on the actual LC1 harness. Another canteen pouch there. This one actually does have a little Bic lighter in it and a P51 can opener. See there, the big brother of the P38. Another modern BPA3 Nalgene canteen in that canteen pouch. Ability to contain water, liquids is a multi-level concept, but you gotta stay hydrated, especially in today's heat wave. Another magazine pouch, 3 5.56, some of these terrible ETS magazines, which I do not recommend. And then directly to the side of that, we have that
magazine pouch that we showed earlier for kind of pistol size magazines. We have a Gerber multi-tool there, and then an extra magazine for the aforementioned M11 or P228. And then per Green Beret Ranger style, we have a compass pouch here that has a cravat, triangular bandage with the appropriate safety pins. So kind of a multifunctional system that, again, this is kind of based off like old school 80s training videos. The idea would be that you would carry your cravat directly on your left side. That way, when you would be in the field and somebody would have to render buddy aid, they would come and use their cravat on you. And then, apart from the aforementioned drop leg style Alice pistol, on this side, we have an actual bayonet, which will mount up against my A2 clone, my old school SP1 Sporter, as well as my M4. It's nice to have a bayonet, and it actually mounts up against the Alice. We'll come back in the future, talk about the actual butt pack. We got it tightened and cinched as much as it will go up against my tiny little 26-inch waist. And that is the current configuration of my Alice harness.
All right, hopefully y'all enjoyed that entire surplus haul Alice belt kit setup. It's the weekend, it's a chilly night, so we're getting ready to go and wrap up. Hope y'all are doing good, stay safe, and peace out.